be placed in the record. The first is from the Coalition Against Socialized Medicine. The second is from the organization, the Council on Innovation, C4IP, and the third one is from the App Association. And without objection, all three will be placed in the record. We now go to the gentlelady from North Carolina, Ms. Ross.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all the witnesses for joining us today on this very important topic. I represent North Carolina's Research Triangle, so I know firsthand that our nation's leadership in technology and innovation depends on strong intellectual property protections. Among the most critical tools in this regard are standard essential patents. SEPs, the backbone of technologies like 5G, Wi-Fi, and advanced video compression, allow companies to build interoperable products globally. American innovators, as we've all discussed, then license these patented technologies to Chinese and other foreign implementers, and the royalties from these licensing agreements account for a significant share of the U.S. innovators' R&D and positive trade balance. As we've heard, China is actively undermining U.S. leadership by devaluing these patents, directly harming American innovators and weakening their ability to compete globally. There are also national security threats in this situation. These tactics threaten innovation and risk ceding U.S. leadership for emerging technologies to China at a time when the State Department report shows that the U.S. already lags behind China in 37 of 44 key tech sectors, from AI to biotechnology. We need to defend the ability of American innovators to license their patents under fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory terms, FRAND, as we've been discussing, and push back against foreign efforts to impose artificial royalty limits. Further, we must condemn China's abusive practices, including judicial overreach, that harms our IP holders and the integrity of international agreements like TRIPS. By doing so, we can preserve the incentives that fuel technological breakthroughs and maintain our edge in global standard setting. As we face competition from China, defending intellectual property rights is both an economic and a national security imperative. Dr. Koppen, in a 2022 comment you co-signed for the Renewing American Innovation Project on multi-agency SEP policy, you noted how devaluing U.S. patents is akin to subsidizing tech transfer to China. How should Congress, the administration, and the private sector ensure that companies play a leadership role in R&D and standard setting for next-generation critical technologies? For example, does the U.S. need to increase its leadership in standard-setting bodies and voluntary standard development organizations?
Thank you so much for that important question, Congresswoman Ross. It is absolutely essential for the private sector-led process in standardization to be well understood as a national security imperative of the nation. The conversations here today have discussed the importance of encouraging U.S. industry to maintain their presence and to contribute actively, also in partnership with the U.S. government, with organizations such as the National Institute of Standards and Technology at the table with a role as partner and supporter to the private sector. The opportunity is absolutely essential for the nation to continue to have enforceability of intellectual property rights on a global basis, to work with trade organizations and also with WTO to ensure that the United States position is supported and that the erosion that we have seen of intellectual property value by the actions taken by the Chinese courts is condemned by the United States and like-minded nations.
Thank you. And then, Professor Cotter, I know we only have a few seconds left, so I'll make my question short. You talked about what goes on in courts around the world. But when it comes to setting countries' royalty rates, would you agree that it's more efficient and fairer to let IP innovators and implementers negotiate a rate at arm's length as opposed to having outside intervention?
I would say that ideally negotiations are best, but it is often the case, particularly in this particular sector, that the negotiations cannot take place before the implementers are locked into particular technological choices. And so when that happens, I think there is a necessary fallback for the courts to make decisions in appropriate cases when negotiations fail.
Yes, correct. Thank you so much.
Thank the gentleman. Now go to the